Well, g'day everybody, Steve from Ducks 4-Drive Touring. We're going to continue today on the evolution of the Ranger's back seat. So what we want to do is we want to try and go from this, sorry about the sun flare guys, from that to a Ranger variant of this. So I'm going to put a fuse box in it. The Ranger is also going to have a DC charger, which I've got floating around, and we're going to fit that in there because obviously, as you saw, the battery's in that position. So I'll try and emulate that, but I want to make that even neater if I can. Now, in order to do that, I'll just take you to the shed with me. I'll get you out of the sunlight because it's a bit bloody bright out there and a bit windy. I'll bring you in here into the dark, where I'll turn on an interior light here. Right, that panel there used to be on the cargo barrier of the patrol that we used to have. So I'm going to use the DC, that fuse panel, and quite possibly the voltmeter on the back wall of the Ranger. So I have to figure out where that needs to go and what the best layout for that is. So I'll dismantle these off here, which is only a matter of unscrewing them all, and then we'll just start trying to figure out the layout. And I'm not going to show you me unscrewing them all, because what's the point? I'm just unscrewing some gear off a board. I'll unscrew it, and then I'll try and give you an idea of how we're going to try and line it up. Marco is going to come up and give me a hand today too, so that should be cool. Alright, we'll see you when we get on to something that's worth showing you. From our rugged north all the way down to the beautiful south, the centre, the east, the west, doesn't matter where, from travel to tips and all sorts of other things for driving, you've come to the right place. Come for a ride with us at Mud Ducks 4-Drive Touring. Alright, I've got my components basically figured out, but I don't know exactly where to put them just yet. Thinking maybe put the red arc somewhere there, where it's the back of the battery, below that access bolt. The wiring coming off it'll look relatively neat, but then that wiring still has to make it to the fuse box, which I'm thinking should be somewhere there. This would be a nice handy spot to get to it. And then maybe the voltmeter somewhere there. Now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this back panel out, which is only 2 bolts, and sit them on the board in roughly those spots. And it'll be rough. I don't measure anything, guys. I'll just put that roughly there. There'll be room for some wiring to go down the side there and to go underneath it. So even if I just put the fuse box on and come back and put the board back roughly in place, I can keep fiddling. So I'll do that. I'm not going to show you too much about how this all goes together, guys, but you'll get the gist of it. Alright, I'll see you in a while. A lot of science goes on here, guys. Should be pretty close to straight. If I was Andrew, I'd probably measure it, but as I'm not Andrew, not as good as Andrew, I'm just a backyard guy. And all day it's going to be board in, board out, because I can't do anything without sort of double and triple checking it. Now, see what putting it in again and rethinking does. Put the fuse box there. Now I'm thinking the red arc controller might look better just there. It'll be some fiddling with some wiring, because I like it to be up that way up so I can see the LEDs and so on. But I think that'll look better there. So I reckon that's going to be my next job. Right, and now Marco has joined me. It's always good to have second opinion. So what's your thoughts on those positions so far, Mark? My theory is the fuse box up the top, because it's at more eye height to get fuses out, and the red arc below it, so that you can actually see the condition of the red arc and what it's doing.
No, that's a good idea, I think. Well, it's just like you said, the fuses, the height, especially them being down the bottom, it's a lot harder to sort of bend down depending on where you are. So no, I think that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, I think that might be the next bit, and we'll work out where to put the voltmeter and other things. I've also got MIDI fuses that have got to go in between the battery and the red arc, and also between the main battery and the fuse box, so we'll get to that. A lot of sun flare there, unfortunately. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, I think that'll be my next bit. Mark's agreed with me.
Agree.
Two brains are better than one, and Mark's got more brains than both of us put together, so that'll be the next thing. As Marco pointed out, it wasn't dead straight on the top one, so the bottom one's not going to be either. Don't watch this, Andrew.
No, close your eyes, mate.
Turns out I need a longer screwdriver bit, but that'll give me a rough idea. Now, test fitting, we've actually bolted the board back in. As you can see, the DC is there, fuse box is here. I have a voltmeter here that I will run the wiring for. Now the MIDI fuses are behind the battery here, which you think, it'd be a pain in the neck to get to. We've done that to protect the fuses, as well as realistically to get to those if and when they do blow. Do that, you can tilt the battery and you can get to them. Or you can take the battery right out. So the other reason for that was the actual wire from the DC was that length. I didn't want to join it just to bring it up to here, as it seemed a bit pointless, and I can move the battery as I said. So we're going that way. So the next thing will be pull the board out. The earth wire has to go behind the board, and it's going to come up to here, into that bit there. All earths will go to that point somewhere, and other wires will get buried in underneath and come up through holes alongside this, hopefully. So that's the plan there, and then eventually it'll be run the major power wire through. Now I'm waiting on a distribution block that's going to sit here somewhere. It's a two-way splitter, so the main power from the main battery will come to some up where through here, and it'll be split. We'll go off the possibly this side, doesn't matter which side, one of those sides of the fuse box, and the other power will go straight to the input to the DC charger. But that's not here, so I can only go so far today. But we're getting there. Right, now I didn't show you everything we're doing because what do you need to see? People heat shrinking, stripping wires. There's no fun in that. This is not a how-to video, this is just what I've done. DC's there. I've got the MIDI fuses down in there that you can see. The fuse box is here, the voltmeter's there. As you can see, I've wired it. We've taken the earth wire from the battery up through there. Now before anybody says to me, why isn't that red heat shrink? Didn't have any. Not big enough, sorry. Hence the black heat shrink on the battery and the red tape. So that's the accessory battery powered up. Now I haven't obviously fed the power lead from the main batteries in here yet. That'll be a later date. You'll see it on this video, but it'll be a later date by the time I do this. So I still have to wait for a distribution board that's going to sit somewhere there. So I have to put another hole in from the main battery, feed that, and then a power lead will run into there and down to the other MIDI fuse, and that will be that. So I haven't got a lead running from the charger to the battery yet. I can make that up shortly, and the other one will go into the MIDI fuse for that. But that's about it for this part. I used all sorts of tools, wire strippers, side cutters, 13mm spanners, all the usual stuff. I used a little butane torch to heat the heat shrink. All the usual stuff, guys. If you're not confident doing electrics yourself, get a Sparky to do it for you, pay a fortune. But I'm pretty confident with it. Marco's been helping, there he is.
Hello.
Because it's actually easier to have two people take this board in and out than one. Yeah, and before you wonder where the MIDI fuses down there, as I said earlier, to get to them, tilt the battery. So I've left the leads long enough so I can tilt the battery like that, and then I can just put it back in position. Probably not on top of a lead, but I'll do that as we go. Hey guys, that's about it for this bit.
1 week later.
We're back into it. It's been about a week or so. This is where we left you last week. At this point, the parts have arrived now, so Marco and I will be figuring out what to do. We have quickly looked under the seat and discovered I didn't run quite the cabling I wanted to these, so I can't reuse it as such, so it's going to be new cable from under the bonnet. So we'll get into that and work it out as we go. Right, so what do you reckon, Marco? I think somewhere like, I don't know if you should have it on the angle, like that.
Which way you bring the wire?
Because it's got to feed a power into there,
Yeah.
and across to there. So if they have it on the angle, it's going to come from behind it, so that
Well,
doesn't
that'll
matter.
be right.
Or whether to have it straight. I don't know what looks better.
No, it depends which way you bring the wires up to.
If I take one straight out of there and go straight to that,
Yeah, that one's
it's almost a dead straight line.
And then the other one.
And the other one's only got to go from here around to here. So maybe on that angle might be better. What are your thoughts? AB1?
AB1 can add. Yeah, that'd be right. That'd be.
Alright.
Yeah, I think that might be the best because you got that.
Yeah.
If you put it the other way.
We're going to have,
You're
you're going to have turns on the wire,
That's right.
aren't
You're
you?
going to have to be going around like this. Yeah.
This way it's the
maybe
straightest.
The west. Yeah.
Alright, well I think we'll
Put it on the angle.
pull the board out. We'll get to that, I think.
Yep. Oh, good. Yeah, I think that might be the best ever.
Alright, you're an ideas man, Marco.
Okay.
Well, since you took that off the last time, it comes off every time. Spooky.
It's always a baby. They're there?
Yeah.
Is it sure there?
Yeah, somewhere there. Still in line with that, aren't you?
Yeah. There, here.
Yeah.
Right there.
blew all over yourself.
I'm looking to drill a hole. Very right to drill now.
Yeah.
I'm just a bit flustered. I've gone all red.
Loves a good drilling.
Oh!
Yep, once again he's blown all over himself. And that's the reason why. He can't help himself.
Fuck, I'm running out of breath.
Yes, Mark brought help.
I'm the supervisor.
Right, now I didn't show you us marking this out and attaching it, but I've put an Anderson plug down on the back here and run the lead across, and that's the underside. This is the side you won't see, guys. So I just want you to know that I even like to keep them tidy on the back of the board. There may or may not still be more zip ties and things to go on there yet, but that's it for now. We'll go back to the front in just a few moments. Right, we've tested it all, put it in position. I reckon it's come up pretty good. Not a lot of extra wires you can see down there. These will join back up to the battery, of course. So far with the stealthy look, I think we're going pretty well. And what we're into now is we're going to try and feed the cable in from the under bonnet side. Now I can't physically video that because there's just not enough room in the engine bay to show you, so you'll just have to take my word for it. Right, now to feed the cable, I've got to get the cable to come up in here somewhere, but I want to do that by getting it under the floor here. So the only way to do that is this panel here has to come out. So that's going to be a whole floor removal. Not that hard, but just a little bit pain in the arse. So we'll show you that when we've got that part done. Well, there goes me helpers. Mark and Cassie have to go. They've got things they've got to do today. But Mark has successfully helped me with the bulk of the project for the afternoon. So where I'm up to, what I didn't show is I fed the cable in behind the panels. It went down through the sills and stuff like that. So it was... Now, I haven't showed you me putting the Anderson plug on, but I put an Anderson plug on. I didn't show you how to do an Anderson plug up, but you know, that's it, plugged in, all good. That should be providing power up there. As you can see, I've done the backboard, it's ready to go. I'll bolt it back in, I can do that on my own, no problem. But that should give everything I need. So I'll bolt that back up and we'll see how we go. Okay, hopefully you're seeing this okay. Bit of sun behind me, sorry about that. Battery's in place. It doesn't look much different what it did earlier today, no doubt. Except now I've got the distributor in place, all the leads hidden, and that's pretty well the back of it. So all I have to do now is get to the under bonnet section and get that done. So I've got to do a bit of packing up, because I do have to go and get Karen at some stage, but I'll get as much done as I can. Hopefully I'll get it done today. If not, it's very close. Okay, just to show you the last bit of it, got my earth going to the battery here, positive through here. There's a MIDI fuse, it's hanging, you may see it just there near my fingers, and that all of course goes under the engine bay, under the bonnet, into the car. You've seen all this bit already, but that should be all hunky-dory. So the only thing I don't know yet is whether DC is going to light up. Oh yeah, it's showing it's lit up, AGM. So it's a bit hard to see that flashing light, isn't it? But anyway, there you go, we've got voltage on the second battery. It won't be charging as yet because the battery's not flat. There you go, that's pretty well the job done. Big thanks to Marco for helping me with this over the course of a couple of days. Cassie for putting up with us during the course of today. But we seem to have it. All that remains to be seen is whether the car runs, but I'm sure it will. Anyhow, hopefully you liked this video. If you did, feel free to chuck a like on it. If you're new to the channel and you've just found us, consider subscribing. Hope you like it. If you're an old hand, thanks again for taking the time out of your day to watch one of my clips. And once again, I probably said at the beginning of the clip, I'll say it again, this was not a how-to video. This is purely and simply what I did to get the Ranger's dual battery up and running. So have a good one, guys, and we shall see you on the next one. Crap everywhere to put away. More crap. More crap. Cheers, guys.